Donnie, the people have been patiently waiting. It's been 3 weeks now. If you didn't see, folks, the first week we showed you this mobile home that we're attempting to buy. We were able to get inside the mobile home. We had permission. We went inside. At the time, we had put down earnest money on it. We filmed a whole video of this mobile home that used to be a convenience store.
Convenience store, not just a regular convenience store. It had a
full kitchen in the master bedroom. Right? So a guy had a mobile home and he turned it into a convenience store, and then Donnie wants to buy it, right? So we went inside and looked at it, and then, me, I'm the sane one, I'm the one, I'm not as crazy as Donnie. So I said, yeah, it looks pretty good. So we decided to buy it. We got a very good deal on it. So that was the first video, if you didn't see that. We looked it over.
We thought we bought it.
Yeah, we tried to buy it, right?
Yeah.
We decided we had earnest money down on it, but we didn't have the paperwork yet. Okay, so then we did a video 2 weeks ago where Donnie told us the long, sordid story of attempting to get it in our name. So attempting to get the deed,
all the paperwork straight.
All the paperwork straight, and because it was in one guy's name, but apparently he didn't own it. Some other guy owned it, so you had to pay this guy, and then this guy will show up and sign the paperwork. And the guy that was supposed to show up and sign the paperwork, we weren't even sure if he actually existed or if it was just a fake name. So go back and watch that if you didn't get to see it. And we showed you kind of the property over the years. This is just a simple mobile home on a couple mobile home lots. Okay, and then last week's story was about how somebody had the craziest lease we've ever seen that apparently had no way to end it easily.
It's open-ended.
An open-ended lease.
I ain't never seen nothing
for like the last 10 years on the property, and they've done moved to the beach. So how the lawyer found that for us, and then we got that all cleaned up. So we got the property in our name, but the last part of the story is the mobile home that's sitting on the property was not in anybody's name that we've ever heard of. And the mobile home is basically a car that's sitting on the lot. So it's like an abandoned vehicle on your property, basically. There's several ways to get that in your name, but Donnie's going to tell you the story about what's going on with that.
So, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, it's just a name. We have a name of who the mobile home belongs to, and it's not either of any of the people that had anything to do with the property.
Yeah, so I got a guy that made a convenience store. I figured surely it's his.
Yeah. Nope.
Last names don't match. So I'm like, well, it's got to be the other guy that bought it. Nope. Well, it's got to be one of his siblings or something. Nope. Well, it's got to be the guy that we think is that don't exist. Nope. So I go, man, I don't know how I'm going to figure this out. So I go to the tax office, and they say, oh, no problem. We can put it right in your name. I said, you can give me the deed. And they said, no, we can put taxes in your name.
Oh, tell them about that. So mobile homes, here's the little trick people play with mobile homes out in the country. They just stop paying the taxes on them. And then what's the county going to do?
Yeah, they're going to come and repo it. And
they're going to repo a trailer,
Junk. They hope they come and repo it.
Yeah, so
they don't do it.
The county has like 100 or 200 mobile homes that nobody's paying taxes on it, and they're really mad about it, basically. So whenever you go to the county about a mobile home, they're very particular about how the taxes are, because basically they want you to do what you're supposed to do and put it in your name and pay for it, and then everything's straight. And
I knew that I might have to end up buying this thing at a tax sale. So I said, don't put it in my name. We
were thinking and that's the other part of the thing. The people that owned the property had been paying the taxes on the mobile home the whole time. So the taxes were up to date, even though it wasn't in their name. They've been paying taxes on this while it just sat there for like 10 years.
So there's a trick that you can do. If the taxes go delinquent on a mobile home, after 2 years, it goes to an auction. You can buy it.
Then you got to wait another year.
So I'm thinking worst case, it's going to take me 3 years to get this thing. So I tell them, nope, I don't want it in my name because I might have to buy the tax. I tell the lady, look.
So let's say it's Bob Smith's mobile home. He doesn't pay taxes when they roll around in January. That October, there's an auction. And then you have till the next October to pay your taxes and the fees to get your trailer back. And if you don't, they sell it to whoever bid on it at the auction. And then that person has to start paying taxes on it. And the government has to do that because they spend every penny of taxes before they even collect them, So
I figured that might be the way we have to go with it.
So Donnie could go and buy it, and now it's no longer Bob Smith's. It'll end up being in Donnie's name after 2.5 years. But that's kind of risky. But we figured we could, if we had to, we could do that and just let it sit there on the property for 2.5 years and see what happens.
Yeah, the only problem is if somebody else goes and pays the taxes on it, then,
So let's say that the same scenario, Bob Smith doesn't pay the taxes, but he's been paying them for 10 years. He doesn't pay the taxes, and then we try to play that game. We go to the auction, buy it, and then we wait a year and a half or a year, and
we get a check in the mail that says Jerry paid it.
Yeah, just anybody goes down and pays it. The woman working at that wouldn't happen, but the neighbor goes and pays it just for the heck of it, or Donnie's enemy goes and pays it.
Mm-hmm. Then I'm screwed up for another 3 years.
So we thought we might have to do that, but it's risky,
Yeah, and you're in an auction setting. Somebody sees you want it, they might run it up and you can't get it.
Tell them what happened when you went to the DMV.
So I go to the DMV and I tell them, well, first I asked the people at tax lady. I said,
at the tax sale.
At the tax lady.
Yeah, the tax office.
The tax office. I said, what do I do? I mean, I ain't paying you the taxes on it. I need it in my name. If I'm going to fix this thing up, I'm going to put some actual money into this place. I mean, I ain't going to leave it in, Mike Withrow's name or something. And they're like, well, you just go over to the magistrate. He'll sign it over to you. I said, you go to the magistrate and he's going to sign it. That ain't going to work. And they say, oh, yeah, it happens all the time. So I said, okay, I'm going to the magistrate.
So you go to the magistrate and say that it was abandoned on your property, right? And you hear people say that all the time. Oh, yeah, you just go tell them because they want their taxes. They want their taxes. So just go tell them that there's an abandoned trailer on your property and they'll just sign it over to you and you just start paying taxes on it. And if nobody claims it in 30 days, it's yours. That's the story we've always heard, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what happened when you went down there, right, Donnie?
Absolutely. Just go talk to the magistrate. They'll give it to you. Ain't no problem. I said, okay. So I go over there and talk to the magistrate. Well, first you sit there and you wait half a day and you get to talk to the magistrate. And the magistrate, do what? You think I'm just going to give you somebody's trailer
that the taxes are paid for?
They ain't late on taxes, and you've only owned the property for 3 months. I mean, are you crazy? I'm like, well, can you give them an eviction notice or something? I mean, I don't even know who the lady is. And they said, well, is there somebody living in it? I said, no. Has there been somebody in it? No.
It's not even a house anymore. It's a convenience store that the city shut down because I guess they didn't like what he was selling or something.
So he says, you're going to have to go find the lady. I said, well, how do I find the lady? Can you look her up in your database? Tell me who she is? And he said, no, I ain't doing that neither.
Which, to be honest, the magistrate did the right thing. He can't sell you somebody else's property. And he shouldn't really be giving you people's names out, So I can understand it.
So I go to DMV and I say, look, tell them the whole story. They said, well, let me look here. It's in so-and-so's name. I said, yeah, I know that. I said, but I need to know where that so-and-so is. I mean, I don't have no clue, who it is or why or anything. So then they tell me, it's Mike's daughter.
Now we're using Mike as a what's the word? Pseudonym. Is that what I mean? Pseudonym.
He's in the witness protection program.
Yeah, Mike's an interesting character. We're going to call him Mike, but that is not his real name. And the reason that we're doing that is just so that we can say a bunch of funny stuff about Mike and he won't get mad at us. Okay.
Mike.
So it's Mike. Mike's daughter. Mike's daughter owns the trailer, and you know who Mike is, right?
I know who Mike is now.
Everybody knows who Mike is.
Everybody knows Mike. Ronnie even knows who Mike is.
Yep.
Mike found Ronnie's store and bought a jukebox. You remember
Yeah,
that?
I actually sold Mike a jukebox one time for one of his businesses.
It was
And then something happened where it wouldn't work, and he called me up on the phone, and he was like, "Hey, he talks real funny. Everybody loves the guy, but he goes, hey, this is Mike. You know who this is? Call me back."
so. Mike rented a building from me.
Yeah, Mike rented a building from Donnie one time.
Mike also helped a buddy of mine put in a water line.
So you may have seen Gene on our channel as an elderly gentleman in his 80s.
He put in a water line over there with a push plow. You know what a push plow is, Ronnie?
Yeah.
That's the little thing you walk behind and push.
It's about 4 inches deep in the ground.
The water line was sticking out of the ground in some spot. That didn't go over good.
So they had a disagreement
Had a
about
little disagreement.
what he was paid to do and what he wasn't paid to do. And so Mike got in a big disagreement with Donnie and Gene one day.
So I figured this probably ain't gonna go over good. It might.
They got in a big argument, and it was very heated.
Pretty heated.
Words were said on both sides. And that was several years ago, though. So the whole thing is, we didn't think that
Mike was gonna go over too well.
we didn't think that we wanted to call Mike. We thought, Mike's kind of mad, and Mike is a character. He's kind of an extreme guy. Now, he's not a bad guy.
Not bad.
He's just different. Mike is a very interesting dude. Okay?
Very interesting.
So Mike's daughter is the person that owns the mobile home that's sitting on the land. Mike was the person that opened up the convenience store in the mobile home. And Mike was the person that Donnie got in a big argument with one time because Gene and Mike got in a big argument, and Gene's our family friend, and so Donnie was sticking up for elderly Gene.
Elderly person.
Yeah.
So anyway, I called Mike.
Now that was a big step. Donnie's talking to me. What do you think we should do? And I was like, I guess you're gonna have to call him.
Man, but now with all this being said, at the end of the day, Mike did finish the job.
Yeah.
Mike did make it right.
For Gene.
And Mike got paid what he was supposed to get paid.
So it all got straightened out.
It all got straightened out.
But there was some harsh words said on both
There was
sides.
some bad tension there for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And all parties left, but it got fixed. So anyway, I called Mike and say, Mike, you know who this is. He says, yeah, I know who it is. I said, look, is this your daughter? It's got this trailer. I purchased it, and I need it in my name. And
We told him who we purchased it from.
the boy I purchased it from told me to get in touch with you and you'd handle it. He said he did. I said, yep. He said, well, if that guy told you that, I'll handle it. So he called his daughter, or gave me his daughter's number. And I called her, and she said, absolutely, come do it. So I had to drive to Camden. Yeah, that was about 70 miles that way. I had to drive 70 miles that way to get that one. And I went down there, and sure enough, she walked in the DMV and signed it over. I couldn't believe it. But, of course, none of us had title for it. Title got lost, so we had to get a duplicate title. And then supposedly, she signed it over in the she signed it over at the lawyer's office to the other guy that bought it, the mysterious guy that we ain't never seen.
Yeah, so the mysterious guy apparently had some kind of that it's his.
Yeah, it was
Because when they sold the property, apparently it was the property was in her name at one point too.
Yes.
And so she signed it over to the guy that we don't believe exists.
signed the title to the trailer and the land over to that guy. Well, she tells me, can't sign it to you. I said, why not? She said, I was in front of the lawyer when I signed it over to him. He's going to have to sign it over to you, and then I'll sign it over to him, and he can sign it over to you. I was, man, this is going to be rough. So I had to go down and find the guy that we didn't think exists.
And then he didn't want to meet.
He didn't want to meet.
Which made us think that he didn't exist.
He thought I was a damn bookie or something. I don't know. But he didn't want to meet me. So I finally like, look, dude, I'm just trying to get this thing in my name so I can work on it. So now this has done took us like 6 months to do all this. So the guy finally meets me and says, look, I can't do nothing. I said, why? What's wrong? He said, if I sign that thing over to you, and it's in her name, if I sign it over to you and there's taxes or anything owed on it, I'm going to be liable for it. I said, I'll handle them. No, hell, don't worry about it. He said, no, I ain't doing that. I got to send the secretary down there to the tax office to check to make sure. I said, okay, when are you going to do that? And he said, tomorrow. I said, hell, this shit ain't going to happen tomorrow, but okay. And he said, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. I said, all right. So the next day, sure enough, he calls me and says, I need you to come over here. I said, all right. So I go over and meet him again. And he says, $65 owed in taxes on that thing. And that was a screw up because they didn't add the fire department or something. Anyway.
Yeah.
So he paid the $65 and didn't ask for it. Signed the bill of sale over to me and handed it to me. I went the next day to her and gave her the bill of sale, and then she signed it over to me. But I finally got it.
So lots of sloppy paperwork, and Donnie went back and fixed every little bit of all of the sloppy paperwork.
And the sloppy paperwork was over about 15 years.
Yep.
Worth
All of the people involved were still alive. You had the guy that owned the property. It wasn't in his name. And we couldn't find the guy that's name it was in, wouldn't return our phone calls. But we still got the guy somehow to go to the lawyer and sign all the paperwork and everything. And we got them legally in our name. And then we had one where the woman had a strange contract where she could lease it indefinitely for the rest of eternity by paying $1 a day or whatever it was to somebody else. And we got that all taken care of and erased that by getting a hold of the woman who had a completely different name and lived at the beach. And then the mobile home was in the name of someone we had never met that who happened to be the daughter of somebody that Donnie had had an altercation with in the past. Not only was able to talk to that gentleman to make sure everything was still all right, but then got his daughter to agree to sign the paperwork over to us, but only because she had already sold it to somebody else. She wouldn't do it at first, and he had to go find the guy, which just happened to be the same guy that we didn't believe existed, and get him to sign it over to him so that everything's straightened out, and we got it covered every which way from Sunday. Everything's legal beagle in our name.
Yep. All the dots are crossed and the T's are dotted.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I did there?
Yep.
Everybody's gonna comment on that one. But anyway, all that stuff's done. All the paperwork's right. The lawyers looked over everything. It's all been put in the deed books. Everything's good, and you still think we paid too much for it?
And then the guy that we bought it from, his secretary calls us and says she's not going to pay the taxes this year.
Oh, man.
We told her, look, you don't have to. It's in our name. We're going to pay the taxes.
Yep. She said, I ain't paying them. We're gonna have to pay 'em. Okay. Ain't no problem. We'll pay them. Ain't no problem. They ain't due yet. We still got 2 months. But we made it all happen.
Well, now that it's in our name, the property's in our name, and the mobile home's in our name, now we can start working on it.
We got an eviction. We can't.
You got an EV?
Yeah, I got an eviction.
What do you got an EV?
Y'all see it on upcoming videos.
Oh, all right.
Or you probably done seen it now. But, you know, we got other stuff we got to do.
All right, so that's the long story of us getting the mobile home into our name. It's similar to the one where we had to get the jailhouse in our name.
That's actually the short version. It took us 9 months to figure all this out.
Yeah, see, this sounds like a decent story, and some people are probably bored with it, but if you didn't know these people, like we don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
Except for Mike. If you didn't know any, and we knew that he owned it, but it wasn't in his name. Nothing. The land and the mobile home wasn't in his name. It took us forever to track all this down and then talk to lawyers and stuff and figure out blah, blah, blah. Now, our lawyer, we will say, is a heck of a guy. He really knows his stuff, and he's not real expensive. So we didn't pay a whole ton of lawyer's fees. I mean, it was thousands of dollars over the course of all of this, counting closing and then quit claim deeds and all that stuff. So there was some money involved, but it wasn't. It wasn't egregious. The guy charges, a fair amount for what the amount of work that him and his people do. So,
yeah, it was. We got it done, but it was just a nightmare. People don't understand how much behind the scenes stuff goes on, and y'all just think it's a video. So it's a lot of paperwork, and that's not even counting all the other stuff that we did in between all that.
Yeah,
that's just what we had to get somebody else to do for us.
Yeah.
So, and then you got to find all the material and get all the material, and all the prices are spiking right now, and we got to navigate, easily here. But y'all, if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up for filming it. Subscribe to the channel. You've got to see these other things we get into. We get into all kinds of stuff. So this one, we're going to start the series here and see if we can get it fixed. I think we can. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one.